so oniony. Lines of these lovely uniform leaves here. If I was getting a bit carried away, being able to forage from the wild your very own ingredients, I've always found deeply important for me anyway, and certainly something that is very empowering. It gives you the confidence to know that you can do that if you actually had to. Also with that journey of learning that goes with it, that because you know what you can and can't take, and at what time of year you can and can't take it, and how to find it in the right state, and how to then use it in a number of different ways, whether that's medicinal, whether that's something that's edible. There's a number of different things you can do with this, and I really advocate anybody getting out there to have a go. But be careful, make sure you think about using your body's primary skill set to detect whether something's good or not, and that's actually something we call organoleptics. It's the reason that when your lip detects a bitter taste, your body 9 times out of 10 wants to reject it. If you've never tried wild garlic before, think about an allergy. If you're allergic to shop bought garlic, then it's probably one to think about. Maybe not collecting wild garlic because it's going to have the same or similar effect. I also use wild garlic for the prevention of small biting insects. You can of course absolutely cover yourself in the stuff if you really want to go ahead and do that, but personally I would prefer to ingest it, and then as I sweat have that garlic present in my sweat, and that should also help keep the midges away. So we have 3 types of wild garlic here in the UK. We have the flat bladed ramson, which is and predominantly it's the bit above ground we're looking for, rather than the commercial garlic you might find which comes in little bulbs in the supermarket. Okay, so everything above ground. So this flat leaf here is essentially, this is what we're after. You've got that. Okay, this is allium ursinum, and then you've got Alliolaria petulata, and that is by classification technically a brassica, and therefore more in the mustard family. That's Jack by the hedge. And then the third type we tend to find, certainly not so much in this area but more on the south coast of the UK, is Allium triquetrium, which is the 3-cornered leek from memory. We're going to be looking at this stuff today, as you can find it in the greatest abundance, I think, everywhere. It's almost always growing near a water source. Hopefully you can see the stream, and you can see there's a whole carpet of these lovely uniform leaves here. Now, when we're thinking about our foraging, remember the 4 F's of foraging: foliage, fruit, flowers, and fungi. These are the things that we can take as long as we have landowners' permission to do so, and as long as we do it in a way that is sustainable and promotes the growth of the plant itself. So let's have a look at how to do that, and then I'm going to talk to you about some of its uses. As I'm looking around, I'm using all my senses, is that smell. Okay, so I can smell this stuff a mile off. Let's get down and have a little look here. And you've only got to pick any one of these, give it some cellular damage and crush down these leaves, and you just get this almighty oniony garlicky aroma straight away, which you're not going to get with pretty much anything else other than garlic. Nonetheless, there are a couple of lookalikes that we should have a little look into and compare to make sure that we're staying safe when foraging for this. So let's take a peek at one of those lookalikes growing amongst a patch of this right here. Okay, so if I was getting a bit carried away, I could accidentally, if I was picking up swathes and swathes of this lovely garlic, I could accidentally pick up one of these. Now, I'm the landowner, so I've given myself permission to pop this one off. Okay, I'm going to put my hand up behind so you can kind of see some of its ID features a bit more. This plant here is Arum maculatum. Okay, this is lords and ladies, or the cuckoo pint plant, and it's very different to the large bladed wild garlic that we're looking at today. Okay, so here is the wild garlic. You can see, you can just make out these lines when I hold it up. You can see almost like striations, these lines behind it. It's got this one single large rib at the back, and it goes into a lovely point. It's very thin, and as I said, as soon as you give it a rub, okay, and you can feel those kind of, it almost goes a bit like translucent when you rub it, and you can see the light through there. That's also another good indication. Lots of plants will do that, but again, this is things that will just keep adding up to give you wild garlic. And then that smell, it really is an absolute giveaway. Okay, and then when we look at this stuff, There's a lot more going on here. For a start, it's got these two almighty lobes, a bit like an ear would have lobes either side. Okay, it's got a prominent vein at the back, but it's also got lots of other veins and growth coming off the sides here, and it just really is a completely different plant altogether. However, sometimes when it presents itself and it's just coming up through the ground like that, these are coming up right next to each other. That can be an easy mistake to make, so keep an eye out for that. Now the difference with this is, from memory, that it contains calcium oxalate crystals, which ingested will block the pores on your kidneys over time, so a bit of a nasty. So just as an aside, this was actually used by 17th century housemaids. Because of those crystals, it was used for scrubbing silverware, and these poor maids would have had hands that probably would have been quite blistered and damaged and raw from using this for cleaning up all the silverware in these large stately homes. So it did actually have a use many moons ago. Later on in the year, this will go on to produce little berries, and is a key one to look out for to keep young children away from, as they may want to pick those little berries. That kind of covers that. That's not what we're looking at though today. So when it comes to harvesting your garlic, use your knife and just go in at the base and just nick it off quite low down to the stem. Okay, so something like that is fine, and then it's got a chance to regrow from down there and come back again. Things to look out for. Look out for the presence of bird poo on your specimen, and if it's near something like a public footpath, okay, up here, then you want to be careful of anything on this ride edge, because it's likely that something like an apex predator, like a dog, would come along and want to mark that with urine. Okay, so that's obviously not going to add to the flavour of your dish very much. So as I just did there, I've not taken it all from any one spot. I've harvested a little bit from here, I've harvested a little bit from here, and I've now come in over here. And you can see that new growth coming through behind it already. So try not to take it from any one spot. It's in the interest of the plant itself, and probably in yours, to try and vary where you're taking this from, so that you can continue to harvest this for years to come. So oniony. Wow. It's incredible in a ham sandwich. You can turn it into pesto. You can lacto-fermentate this stuff, okay, and that works a bit along the lines of similar to making kimchi. So you're going to ferment it in its own juices, and that's going to be great for your gut health and your general well-being. It has got massive immune boosting properties. It lowers your blood sugar levels, it's an antioxidant, promotes healthy blood pressure, it's a natural antibiotic, and it helps to lower cholesterol levels. What's not to like? Thank you so much for all your subscriptions. It really means an awful lot to us. Having only started this channel less than a year ago, it's just been incredible. Please hit the like button, and yeah, share it with anyone you think would benefit from learning about wild garlic. We have to check that it's safe to eat first, you sausage. Is that garlic?